So, there was a debate between a Christian and a Mormon on whether the biblical God is a trinity, and the Mormon apologist made the claim that the Son is merely using the name of Yahweh. This is a quote from the Mormon apologist. He said, "In the ancient world, there is a concept of a king sending a messenger that would bear his name, who would actually speak as if he were the king." Well, here's what I have to say. The concept that he was talking about is something that by the time of Jesus, the Jews were calling sheliah. The sheliah, or the delegate, never speaks as if he is the one that sent him. He may have the authority of the sender, but what he cannot do is claim to be the sender nor take credit for what the sender has done. A shaliah is used, for example, in the process of a divorce. A sender sends a shaliah to tell that the sender is divorcing his wife. The shaliah cannot say, "I divorce you," to the woman. This is because the intention of the sender must be clear when carrying out the mission. The sent one is not the one that is married to the woman, so saying, "I divorce you," is not legally possible because the sent one is not the one who is married to the woman. So the shaliah cannot talk in first person when delivering a message or doing something for the sender as if he were the sender. We have examples of those kinds of delegates in the Old Testament that have the authorities of the sender. The servant of Abraham who was sent to find a wife for Isaac never says anything remotely close to, "I am looking for a wife for my son Isaac." He always said, "My master said this, my master did that." And another example of a shaliah is in the story of Joseph, where the Pharaoh said, "You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you." And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt." However, even Joseph never claimed to be the Pharaoh. So when the Mormon apologist said, "In the ancient world, there's a concept of the king sending a messenger that would bear his name, who would actually speak as if he were the king," he was leaving out crucial details about what a shaliah can and cannot do. The Mormon apologists also claim that Yahweh is a who as in the Father and a what as in a court. He said that Jesus was bearing the name of Yahweh because he was in the court. And when it comes to that idea, there's a lot of problems. Let's just say that the Son was calling himself Yahweh because the Father allowed him to. And let's just say the Father also calls the Son Yahweh because of that. However, even granting that, there is still one entity that would not and should not call the Son Yahweh without first making it clear that the Son is only Yahweh in the court sense. And that entity is the narrator. It is because the narrator's role is expositing the facts of the events clearly. The narrator I'm talking about is in the Old Testament, the Pentateuch, and the historical books. And the narrator is in the third person omniscient point of view. Not only that, the narrator is a reliable omniscient one. Thus, the narrator cannot be in error or lie. Unlike a biased narrator or a narrator that hides information with the purpose of keeping a mystery story thrilling, the biblical narrator's role is to exposit historical events and God's plans and actions to the readers accurately. Thus, if the Son really was just a representative or something like that, the narrator would have had the duty to make that clear so that there would be no confusion. Also, messengers in the Bible are always told to be messengers, and never during an interaction between a messenger and the receiver of the message does the Bible narrate it as if the messenger is the sender. In addition, when there are real cases of that kind of dynamics, like a court or a group acting in unison, the Bible clarifies it. For example, in John 3, it is said that Jesus and his disciples were baptizing. However, in chapter 4, the narrator makes it clear that Jesus himself did not baptize, but it was his disciples that did. And think about it, the biblical authors would not be writing without clarifying that the Son was only speaking for Yahweh if that were the case. It is because polytheism was prevalent in the ancient world. If the Son was really not Yahweh, then to have the narrator say the Son is Yahweh would lead people to the wrong idea. Now, the Trinity does show up in the Old Testament, but it was very confusing. I made a video about why the narrator had to have made it so confusing. Check it out. Anyways, since the narrator doesn't correct the Son calling himself Yahweh, but instead actually affirms it, the Son must be Yahweh. And one last thing, in Exodus 23 verses 20 to 21, it says, "Behold, I send an angel before you to guard you on the way and to bring you to the place that I have prepared. Pay careful attention to him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him." This might sound like the court idea. However, it is not. This is not the angel of Yahweh operating in the name of God. Instead, the name of God is in the angel, and God's name is his identity. Thus, God's identity is in the angel, which means this angel, who is Malach Yahweh, is Yahweh. In conclusion, the Son speaking as Yahweh and calling himself Yahweh, and the narrator also calling him Yahweh, means that the Son is Yahweh. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and hit that like button. Bye bye.